Three, two, one.
Educational debate, on point discussion.
Now it's time for the final talk. Each delegate will state their on-point speeches. For this round, they have freedom to choose their own topic. Their chosen topic was indicated in each photo. For Mr. Reyes, he will talk about motivation. For Ms. Loredo, learning task. For Mr. Rios, evaluation. For Ms. Loramos, she will enlighten us about teachers being a role model. And for Ms. Lacasandile, she will identify the qualities of a effective teacher. Starting with Mr. Reyes.
Hello everyone, allow me to introduce myself. I am Mark Anthony Reyes and known as an expert guru. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be part of this session. Let me share you something. It is all about motivation. A lot of individuals lacked motivation, and that's the sad reality of every life story. Why? Well, there are also questions that you yourself could only know the answer. Going back to the topic, let us define what is motivation. It is a process that initiates, guides, and maintains goal-oriented behaviors. It is what causes you act, whether it is getting a lot of water to reduce thirst or reading a book to gain knowledge. Did you know that motivation involves the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive forces that activate behavior? Well, in everyday usage, the term motivation is frequently used to describe why a person does something, meaning to say, it is the driving force behind human actions. Actually, there are two types of motivation, and these are frequently described as being either extrinsic or intrinsic. Let's discuss it one by one. Extrinsic motivation are those that arises from outside of the individual and often involve rewards such as trophies, money, social recognition, or praise. Meaning to say, these are the things you receive from someone or gain through hardship, specifically rewards. How about intrinsic motivation? So these are arises from within the individual, such as doing a complicated crossword puzzle purely for the personal gratification of solving a problem. The opposite of extrinsic indeed. It is solely coming from yourself or from your own desire.
Mr. Reyes, is there any principles in motivation?
Yes, actually, I just remembered a work of Matthew Weller. I read it from Los Angeles Business Journal, and they called it the General Principles of Motivation. Well, those are just a simple concepts of motivation exist that, in any case, contribute to learning. Those are just simple concepts of motivation exist that, in any case, contribute to learning. Those are just a self-explanatory indeed, so please listen carefully and I will give it to you now. First, the atmosphere should be used to concentrate the focus of the student on what needs to be understood. Second, incentives inspire learning. Third, internal motivation is more enduring and self-directive than external motivation, which must be reinforced repeatedly by affirmation or tangible incentives. Number four, learning is more effective when an individual is really learning. That is when one wants to know something. And number five, I think this is the last. Motivation is enhanced by how the instructional material is organized. So there you have it. Those are the five general principles of motivation. I hope you find this session knowledgeable enough and interesting. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. It's your turn, Miss Loredo.
Hi, it's me, Michelle C. Loredo. Please allow me to guide you on how to present learning tasks or activities. First and foremost, learning task was known as the concept of appropriate instructional design and requirements for e-learning framework that are driven by a sequence of phases with a specific learning goal that fulfill specific training demands created in teaching and learning processes. To further understand, learning tasks or activities should be designed with the student in mind so that they can relate to and comprehend what is being taught. As a result, you as a teacher, you must make your lesson plan and commentary clearly and understandable. For example, as a teacher in designing your learning tasks, you should ask yourself first, what will students be doing during the lessons? Will you have them turn and talk? Will they use individual whiteboards or response cards? Will they work with partners? Will they use the graphic organizers? Will they do an experiment? Deliberately, these questions appear during class session, especially when tasks or activities has been inflicted. In addition, as a teacher, you should consider these three factors in doing your learning task. First, it should be intentional. The intent of the task or activities you make should be clear to both of you and your student. Second, it should be meaningful, wherein it ensures the student's whole development, including their skills, knowledge, and advancement throughout the learning process. For example, in learning or in making tasks or activities, it should be built on previous activities and you should avoid the repetition of the activities. And for the last one, it should be useful. What is the sense of doing it where in the first place it makes no sense? And for the example for useful tasks, students should be able to directly apply the skills or knowledge they acquired to an assessment task or to the next activity in your unit. But the real question is, why are learning tasks important? Obviously, in educational environments, learning tasks are quite significant. They can be taught as a link between students and the information available in the learning environment. They also serve as an activation and the control learning processes in order to aid successful learning, with heightened reaction referring to learning content, causing learners to become more engaged in the subject matter. Is it true that learning tasks should be relatable to today's issues or a real-world situations? Absolutely, 100% yes. Real-life example, situation, issues, or problems provide concrete applications to knowledge and skills that have been learned and taught inside the classroom or even in what we are doing right now, which is the online class. Whether we like it or not, we students were reacting to what was going on in our surroundings or in our society. Just like Marites. You know who's Marites? Also, real-life example, situation, issues, or problems can encourage students to be aware of what choices they have made or how they can fit themselves into a greater social context or in today's society.
Wow, thank you so much. It's your turn, Mr. Rios.
Hello everyone, my name is Vince Bernard Sirios, and now let's discuss how assessment, evaluation, and testing differ from each other. But first, let me define what this three term means. So, assessment, evaluation, and testing are different measures used to determine whether the students are achieving the goals of the learning task. Some of you may think that these three are somewhat the same, but it is not, because assessment refers to the process or methods used in measuring, evaluating, and documenting of data which help teachers reflect on their instruction wherein it helps them to improve the learning of their students. And the example for here are tests and quizzes. Testing, on the other hand, measures how much learning the students acquired, or to simply put, what the students learn throughout the learning process, while evaluation refers to the interpretation of the data or scores collected through assessment and testing. For example, student 1 got a grade of 96 which interpreted as outstanding and passed, while student 2 got a grade of 72 which means that he did not meet the given expectation. And to make it clear, and evaluation ay binibigyan mo ng meaning yung scores or data na nakuha through assessment, quiz or test, and testing. Why is making an assessment important? From the word itself, assessment means making a judgment about something. Assessment is important because it serves as our tool in assessing whether your instruction were effective and if the students achieve the required learning goals. It also helps us reflect on what we have done and allow us to enrich our instructional approach or method in order to instill learning in our students. What is the difference between formative and summative assessment? Formative assessment, the goal of formative assessment is to monitor students' learning to provide ongoing feedback that can be used by instructors to improve their teaching and by students to improve their learning. More specifically, formative assessment help students identify their strengths and weaknesses and target areas that need work. Help faculty recognize where students are struggling and address problems immediately. So, formative assessment are generally low stakes, which means that they have low or no point value. Examples of formative assessment include asking students to draw a concept map in class to represent their understanding of a topic, submit 1 or 2 sentences identifying the main point of a lecture, turn in a research proposal for early feedback. Summative assessment, the goal of summative assessment is to evaluate student learning at the end of instructional unit by comparing it against some standards or benchmark. So, summative assessment are often high stakes, which means that they have a high point value. For examples of summative assessment include a midterm exam, a final project, a paper, a senior recital. Information from summative assessment can be used formatively when the students or faculty use it to guide their efforts and activities in subsequent courses. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rios. Ms. Ramos, take over.
Good day everyone, I'm Erica Jane M. Ramas, and for today's topic, I will discuss teachers are role models. So before we start, let me first define what is role model. A role model is someone whose actions, examples, or accomplishments are all may be copied by others, particularly young people. A role model is someone whom others look up to in order to assist them identify suitable behavior. For further understanding, role model is someone who has an achievement that has done before and you can learn and get inspiration from them, and it is someone you can admire. In others, they admire someone in terms of their physical appearances, skills, attitude, knowledge, and even their mindset. I believe in the saying that people inspire other people. That's why role models are a very powerful source of inspiration. Aside from that, there are also two types of role models, which is the negative role models and the positive role models. Negative role models exert an influence similar to that of positive role models, but they are different when it comes to the type of behavior being modeled. According to Roots of Action, positive role models typically inspire growth mindset, encouraging kids to work hard and accomplish goals through perseverance. So when we say growth mindset, it is a person or people who embraces challenges and stay resilient in the face of difficulties, learn from constructive criticism, and seek out inspiration in others' success. Although many people may suggest that role models do not influence people, others believe that role models help inspire people. I believe that role models create a path for people to fight through with determination and hard work. According to sociologist Robert K. Merton, whose studies centered on social groups and developed the term role model, the most apparent examples in Western cultures are public figures such as athletes, actors, singers, and celebrities. So after knowing the definition and background of role models, let us now discuss why teachers became a role model. Teachers being role models is not a new concept and has inspired students to go into this field for ages. A role model can be anybody, a parent, a sibling, a friend, but some of our most influential and life-changing role models are teachers. There are several reasons why children regard teachers as role models. One of the most important reasons is a desire to be a role model for students to look up to, learn from, and remember for the rest of their lives. Everyone has experienced the power and long-lasting presence of an effective instructor who also had a larger impact. How can you say that teachers are still a role model in today's generation? I can say that teachers are still a good role model today, and for sure that being a good role model of a teacher may last forever. Why? It is simply because teachers are most influential people that I know. They gave inspiration not only to their students but also to all the people who surrounds them. Teacher helps younger generation to shape their attitudes to be able to use it in their future to become more successful and victorious in their life.
Thank you, Miss Ramos. It's your turn, Miss Lacasandile.
Let me introduce myself. I am Ira Laksandile, and I will going to discuss the top 5 qualities of effective teachers according to students. Let us first define what is effective teacher. Effective teachers demonstrate a deep understanding of the curriculum. They plan, teach, and assess to promote mastery for all students. Also, they provide high-quality instruction and a respectful, positive, safe, and student-centered environment to increase student achievement for all students. They collaborate with their colleagues to analyze data and plan for effective and equitable instruction. They are always prepared, set clear and fair expectations, have a positive attitude, are patient with students, and assess their teaching on a regular basis. Additionally, they effectively allocate time for students to engage in hands-on experiences, discuss and process content, and make meaningful connections. And that quality of interactions really matters. According to the observation of university economist Eric Hanushek, a full degree of students' achievement in a single school year can be the difference between a good and bad teacher. Well, I agree with that. The students' achievement reflects from the quality of teachers' performance. According to Hanushek, the following are the top 5 qualities of effective teacher according to the students. First one is the opportunity to build connections with their learners. The most popular reaction is the fact that outstanding teacher develops relationship with students. Listening well is one of the most important skills needed to be a teacher. If an educator can truly hear a student, they can learn how to teach them where they are. This will open the door for them to receive and learn the lesson that is being taught. Let's proceed to the second one. Patient, caring, and kind. personality faculties related to being a compassionate individual and having a sensitiveness in students' differences, particularly with learners, had been the second most irregularly reported quality. Teachers should love their students. One of the characteristics of an effective teacher is that these teachers feel privileged and honored to be a part of their students' lives. They relate to their students by finding out what they're really interested in and then learning more about those interests. This way, we can be more involved with their class and design lesson plans, reading materials relevant and exciting to their students. Additionally, there is no substitutes for kindness, like patiently handling challenging situations. Teachers are under a lot of stress and must work with parents, districts, and policies. With so many different opinions going into the education system, it's easy to get flustered when faced with harsh criticisms. Teachers that empathize with concerns that can use the criticism as opportunity to become more effective educators. And next, we have knowledge of learners. This is the broad category that incorporates knowledge for the cognitive, social, and emotional development of learners. It includes understanding of how students learn at a given developmental level, how learning in a specific subject area typically progresses, like learning progressions or trajectories, awareness that learners have individual needs and abilities, and an understanding that instruction should be tailored to meet each learner's needs. Effective teachers need to be able to work constantly evolving environment and adjust their teaching methods based on knowledge of their students and the resources available and changing curriculum, practices, and requirements. I believe that change is a constant. Learning how to adapt and adjust just been one of the skills that been most helpful in the field of teaching. It's about keeping yourself aware that everyone has differences in all aspects, most especially on how they think, perceive, and learn. The fourth one is dedication to teaching. First, what is dedication? Dedication refers to a love of teaching or passion for the work, which includes commitment to pupil success, responses frequently known loving the student's subject matter, or just being dedicated to the task. To students, this means a teacher is always willing to assist and present time. The most effective teachers didn't become that way overnight. They constantly look for ways to become better, to improve their craft, and aren't afraid to try new things, even if they don't seem to work the first time around. These teachers are determined to succeed and work hard for the result they ultimately achieve. And the last one is engaging students in learning. Students additionally said that instruction should recently engage and encourage pupils to understand. Researchers explore three types of engagement being necessary for pupils to understand. These are cognitive, psychological, and behavioral. These findings are especially important as discussions continue around the teacher shortage and show to keep great teachers in the classroom. Additionally, instruction should certainly engage and encourage pupils to understand. I'll give you an example. In kindergarten, an effective teacher might be the one who gets down on the floor to do activities with their students on their level. While in high school, an engaging teacher may be one who thinks outside the box, adds humor to their lessons, and find creative ways to bring learning into the real world. And this is one of the ways on how to engage your students in a creative way for them to learn and letting them do it in their own to experience. Those are the top 5 qualities of effective teachers according to students. Meaning to say, an effective teacher can make a world of difference in a student's life, impacting everything from their classroom, learning to their long-term success. If you're considering a career in education or looking to boost it with a Master of Education, it's important to explore the qualities of an effective teacher.